I just had this epiphany when I'm standing out there and the guy's loading on the back of his truck. I'm like, hey, what if I pay you $2,500 if you send me leads? What houses do you go to? Do they want to sell their home? Because if they want to sell their home, I want to buy their home. And so that's kind of where it started.
What is going on, guys? In this episode of the Collecting Keys podcast, we have McKinney Holland, who you have never heard of before because he apparently is not online anywhere. We learned at the end of the show.
He's a ghost.
He is a ghost, but he is one of our OG members of our Instant Investor program. And we were so excited to have him on the show because he is kind of the epitome of success, not only in just like what he's done, which is very impressive, what he's put together for himself, but also pretty much every single limiting belief that people tend to have about this business, about not having enough money, not having enough time, not having enough knowledge, not having, having a W-2 job, whatever else. He had all those same things, and he has just sort of found his little niches within the business to allow him to be very successful and to find ways to get deals done without having to worry about any of that stuff. And, I would say that across all of the investors and wholesaler stuff that I've met across the US, he's probably one of like the biggest like problem solvers and most entrepreneurial people that I've encountered. And I mean, the things that he brings to the group on a very regular basis always just blow people's minds.
Yeah, he's like a creative and a problem solver. Like those are the two attributes I would put on him, because he's creative in that like he comes up with just ideas out of nowhere, and then he actually implements them, because it's like easy to come up with an idea, but actually implementing them and then using those to solve problems, like because he gets some wild ass deals out there and somehow makes them work. Where most people would be like, they tap out after dealing with seller X, Y, or Z that he deals with, but he solves their problems. And he even talks about how he kind of approaches these sellers in the episode. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. And, so as we get into it, he's going to go into like how he creates these like proxy businesses that generate leads, like how he's doing direct mail himself versus using a mail house, how he started seeking cash flow by doing this virtual investing in these markets that like no one's ever talked about before. There's just so many little tiny, just like twists on the tail that he has jumped into, which has just been super, super awesome. Yep. And the funny thing is, too, it's not like he's just getting easy deals, but he has some of the craziest stories with like insane sellers and situations out of anybody in our Instant Investor program. But he's unfazed, just keeps grinding, keeps moving through everything. And sure enough, he keeps making money as well. So it's been super, super fun. So anyways, guys, if you want to reach out to McKinney, sorry, but you're kind of SOL. You got to join the Instant Investor program if you want to converse with him and hear about what other crazy ideas he's spinning up. So you can do that by hitting me up on Instagram at Mike_invest. Besides that, please share those with anybody who's interested in real estate or has making excuse about why they can't get started. And McKinney will absolutely shoot that down over the course of this episode. So anyways, guys, tons of great knowledge here, and I know you guys will enjoy it. So please listen carefully, take some notes, and enjoy the show with McKinney Holland. All right, McKinney Holland, I am super excited to have you on the show, man. You are one of the OG Instant Investor Program members. I think you're pretty dang close to day one. You're maybe like a couple of days.
Inaugural member.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I appreciate that you were one of like the first people to join that wasn't like kind of in our circle, because we just connected randomly online. But I'm super excited to have you on the show today, man, because you are one of the, I would say, most entrepreneurial investors that I've met. In the way that we give you kind of the playbook through our program, but then you say, you know what, I'm going to do this my own way, and it's going to be way better and way cheaper, and just like figure it out, man. So I'm super excited to have you on the show.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Mike and Dan. Yeah. I mean, your group is just phenomenal. Like I'm set to make like $200,000 this year from a freaking side business. You know what I mean? Like, I love it. Like from a side business.
That's incredible.
Like, I'm not on Etsy putting up a workshop or whatever.
Not selling feet pics, doing any of the weird stuff.
Just real estate. That's it.
Yeah,
oh man,
real estate. It's one steady stream.
The old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned way.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it makes the most millionaires for sure. Whenever you Google how to make side money, it's real estate. It always comes back to real estate. So,
absolutely, I love it. So awesome, man. So I guess to dive into this thing, we're gonna take a jump into a lot of the different little strategies and stuff that you have been working on. But let's hear about your background first. Kind of how you grew up. Was like real estate part of your history? How exactly you got introduced to real estate and why it's interesting to you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I started off at Clemson as an econ major, 2008, 2009, rough economy, right? So I graduated a semester early by giving up my real estate aspirations to switch over into finance and then finally accounting. And so I started accounting. Accounting pays well. So that's what I did the first 10 years. Always wanted to do real estate, always wanted to do it. So, got a letter in the mail from Zillow one day. Just wanting to buy my home, right? And so, I mean, I sold to Zillow for like just over $200,000. So I'm like, man, Will started trying. Always wanted to do real estate. Now's the better time. Like, I mean, it's kind of like my first property, right? My own primary home. I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't an investment, just like the home, starter home, right? And so that's kind of where I started. I started getting on Reddit. That's how I met Mike. So
A couple of fellow Redditors.
Yep.
fellow Redditors for sure. And
Were you guys part of the Reddit strike?
No.
no,
Okay.
no, I'm not.
Just wanted to make sure.
Not that in the Reddit, like I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just there for entertainment. I'm not there to make a
Right, yeah.
stance or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just give me some entertainment there. But yeah, I'm looking at that time back to your entrepreneurial point. I'm looking to find or create a system, hire somebody with a computer background to make a system to scrape the public data. Because at that point in time, I am an asset manager at my company, hard money lender, and I'm doing REOs and foreclosures. I'm like, man, if we could get these types of property, if I could come across these types of properties before anybody else knows about them, man, there's a lot of money to be made there.
Mhm.
And so Mike reaches out. I make a post. Mike reaches out, and like, yeah, I know of a system. I'm like, there's a one that already exists, and it's like, yeah, I'm also creating a group, drumming up a group, right? Would you like to join? Like, I've never met him. I don't know, but he's giving me some really good insights, some really good information. I look him up because looking up county records is kind of my thing through my job. Like, man, he's doing some deals. How did he get this $600,000 home for 200 and something $1,000 and turn it over in a month, again and again and again? Like, I mean, like I'm seeing, like, man, you're doing some major deals. I want to hear some more. I don't even know what wholesaling is at that point. And so, I mean, your coursework is right up my alley. It's really right up my alley. I mean, the videos are like some of them are like 30 seconds, some of them are 2 minutes, some of them are 4 or 5. Like, I think I did the whole course in like a day or two, like a day or two. And I've got all this knowledge, this great foundation able to build upon. Right. And so, I mean, I made, Scott, got to give Scott a shout out. Ended up flipping my first house with him. Right.
Scott's in our
Yeah,
group.
Scott's another one of our group members.
Love Scott, man. We're still keeping contact to this day,
Yeah.
And through that house, I got a group of 5 properties, right? So, I mean, I've got $30,000 in my pocket, off of, maybe 5,000 mailers. And so, what's the next step? So, start marketing, doubling down. I didn't look at it the way I should have. I spent a lot of it. Like, great, it's what I wanted, side money. But now my focus is a little different. Now, if going back in time, one thing I would have done, not take a penny of it, and that's marketing dollars.
Yeah.
That's what I think about all the time. Marketing
And
dollars.
just start doubling down. Yeah. So it's funny.
That's tough.
I'm trying to remember like how we initially connected on Reddit because, I'm guessing what we did is you had a post and I probably just commented on it. And I don't even know like how we got into the point where all of a sudden you're paying money to, I think you paid us $2,800 to come into a group. You just sent it to some random guy that you met on the internet. But, I was,
Wild. It's wild to think about. Like, yeah, I gave somebody $2,500.
yeah, right. Yeah, which is super funny. So, but then, to get into it, you've been like I said, a staple of our group. You kind of had this, a little bit of this real estate, I guess, exposure through the hard money lender you were working for. What was your, I guess, initial goal when you decided that you were going to try and pursue real estate? Was it passive income? Was it buying rentals? Or is it literally just like trying to figure out how to make these large sums of money from these opportunities that you would see through the hard money lender that you work for?
That last point is exactly it. Just want to make a little extra money from those opportunities I saw. Because I mean, you see a lot of people, coming in for for funding, how are they getting these deals, man? I mean, some of them are getting like, 40 something percent ARV. Like, I mean, like how do you come across that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, now I know, they've got a
Yep.
strong marketing engine. They're getting that phone to ring
Yeah.
daily on a daily basis. So, I mean, when people are calling you, man, that's the hardest part. Once you got
Yeah.
that, I mean, it's a numbers game. You're going to get X amount per month under contract. If you love it, flip it. If you kind of like it, dispo it. Right.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. And,
Yep.
and you came into our group and you started in the real estate investment business, and something like an area that's really common for a lot of people, right? You were a little bit cost averse. You didn't have a huge amount of money on the, just sitting in reserves to throw into this system. We kind of gave you the foundation, but one of the biggest things we always talk to new people when they're starting real estate investing is everyone that says you can kind of like just do it with no money is a liar. Honestly,
yeah.
like you're going to have some kind of operational costs, some kind of ability to reach out to people, or you have like a really rich friend that pays for everything for you. But of course, the people that are saying no money down, they never tell you that part of it, right? But
Yep.
you came in, and this is why I wanted to have you on the show, because you were super resourceful with kind of how you started to pursue stuff. So, we kind of gave you the foundation of what you looked for. You actually started to create almost like these different lead gen businesses that you have used to get very significant number of deals and very interesting opportunities. So I don't want to fully spoil, but maybe dive into kind of what your thought process was in building those up and what exactly that all looks like, because I think you're about to blow some people's minds.
So you're alluding to junk hauling for sure. Man, I stumbled upon that. I wish I had the idea, just, had an epiphany for it. But no, like my wife has this little garden out back, took down the fence, had these posts sitting in my backyard for, a couple months. She's like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. I don't own a truck. I don't want to go to Home Depot, rent a truck and all that stuff. So, I mean, I start reaching out to junk haulers. I mean, like, I guarantee you that it was not a 5-minute job, but I was getting $300, $400, and $500 quotes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just had this epiphany when I'm standing out there and the guy's loading on the back of his truck. I'm like, hey, what if I pay you $2,500 if you send me leads? What houses do you go to? Do they want to sell their home? Because if they want to sell their home, I want to buy their home. And so that's kind of where it started. Leaving it in the hands of someone else to do my marketing probably wasn't the best idea, because some weeks he's sending me 5 homes, some weeks he's sending me none, radio silence. So I have another epiphany. Let's go do my own marketing, right? So I log on Facebook, watch a couple of YouTube videos, learn how to market on Facebook, and I'm spending $200 a week at that point in time for my junk hauling business. I've got a website, I've got a Facebook page, the works, my own number, and I'm ready to roll. And so that's my lead gen, and it pays for itself, because I'm sending out the jobs to other legitimate junk haulers that actually have a truck that can do the work, and I'm getting a cut of it. I'm getting $50 to $100 from the jobs. Then on March the 9th, I have a lady reach out, and I shoot my shot. Hey, I also buy homes cash. Would you be interested? And she says yes. I'm like, wow. After a couple of months, I got one. Like, really, this is unbelievable. Long story short, I buy the house for $255,000. We're going to list it next week, hopefully, $415,000. That's pretty big. It's pretty significant, right?
Yeah.
Took a long ways to get there because there was some drama for sure. She decided she didn't want to sell me her home. I mean, 2.5 weeks later, she decides she doesn't want to sell me her home, cussed me out, bad emails, bad calls me Mr. Junkman, and all that stuff. And she goes to Mexico.
Mr. Junkman.
Yeah, Mr. Junkman, I will not sell you my home. So we cloud title, and eventually she comes to her senses and does. And then she takes, a couple of weeks off to go to Mexico. And this is a hoarder house, by the way. This is a hoarder house that I'm fully expecting to spend, under $10,000 on. Just got our quote back last week. It's going to be $32,000.
Was that to get everything out?
No, not to get everything.
Or is that the repairs?
That's the repairs. So much junk you can never really tell. I mean, I had that built into the numbers, but I was being pretty hopeful, saying under 10. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, ended up getting bitten by fleas. I mean, like I still have
Mhm.
marks. It was a wild ride, wild ride.
Yeah.
But what would
And
you
so
do
that
for $100,000? You know what I mean?
totally.
That's cool.
And so that was kind of the start. And so I guess just to rehash kind of what you did is, you saw the opportunity with these junk calling companies, and your thought process was, who probably needs junk calling? People that own properties that have junk, right? They have issues.
Mhm.
So you set up this essentially proxy business
Yep.
where you are collecting leads for people that are inquiring about junk calling services. The legitimate opportunities you sell to these junk calling services, you don't actually have to do the work. You sell them for what? You said a couple $100, I think.
50 to $100.
50 to $100, right? So you're basically getting your money back, covering the Facebook ads, maybe a little bit of tiny profit in there, depending on it. And then as you go through and you feel those conversations, you try to identify if they're a potentially motivated seller, if the junk that they're looking to have cleaned up is, with a property that they maybe don't want to deal with anymore. And you are getting leads this way and you are signing deals this way as well.
Yep.
So
That's spot on.
It's pretty incredible.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
spot on, spot on.
Pretty
So,
incredible. I want to hear about the other, I know it wasn't your idea. It was actually somebody from our group's idea, and just your openness to trying new things, kind of like how you were really just making your own direct mail
yeah,
instead of going and doing what Mike and I do, which is just go and buy it. But I just love that story too, because just your ability to adapt and also take in feedback and input and kind of take your own twist on things.
oh, for sure, for sure. So, I mean, direct mail is expensive, man. I mean, we're talking $1 plus nowadays per piece, right?
mhm.
And that's expensive. And so, I really try to, work on my bottom line, work on my margins. So, yeah, I do my own direct mail. Wes in our group, he does handwritten letters, and I found a way to make it look handwritten in Microsoft Word. And so I do my own direct mail. I actually just picked some up. I would do 1,000 letters at a time, buy them for 8 cents, envelopes on Amazon. Go get 1,000 inserts of just 8x11 paper, and pay somebody a couple $100 to stuff the envelopes and put stamps on them. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm at about 60 to 65 cents per letter right now.
Wow. So you're saving quite a bit of money doing it yourself.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's a pain. I'm at the point now where I need to, start spending to save time because,
Yep.
want to be efficient with your time. But yeah, do my own letters. I mean, I've got stacks. They're all around here.
Yeah.
So
No, that's great, because I think too, like you're saying, it's not necessarily the most scalable method, but when you're trying to pick whether you should market or not, and you're kind of strapped for cash, or you're trying to, like you said, trying to get your margins super tight so you can keep going in this business, something like that, or being creative, or being willing to step outside of what the normal, what Mike and I teach, step out for a minute and actually lower your costs and put a little bit of more time and effort into it while you have the time. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And I do appreciate the time savings. And direct mail. I can't think of a better marketing tool in this line of work than direct mail. I actually told my VA to stop doing SMS this past week, just because I get so many people kicking the tires. But if someone calls your phone from direct mail, they take this envelope and walk it into their kitchen table and open it, read it, and then call you. They're motivated. They're legitimate. Everybody that does that is a qualified lead in the story.
That's actually brings up a point I want to ask you about, because you do work a full-time job,
Yeah.
and you're talking about direct mail. How does that work? How does your system work when you're doing your day job? You've blasted out a few thousand letters. People are inevitably going to call you at any time of the day. Like, how do you manage that? Like, what are you doing, I guess, to still meet the speed to lead, still answer these calls, and still close deals while you're working a full-time job?
Oh yeah, my VA. I took the time to train her, to really train her how to do this. Man, she's really intelligent. She's a chemistry graduate down in the Philippines,
Wow.
Studying for boards. So this is what she's doing in her free time, And took the time to train her on Saturdays and Sundays to really get her script down, get her dialect down, let her know how to talk to people, and just putting in that investment has paid dividends for sure. So, right now I'm just hearing from her, hey, you have an appointment on Saturday morning, then I'm going to it. That's about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you give her access basically to your calendar, so she knows which days to book.
Yep.
And basically you probably give her you probably give her some standard scripts, but other than that, she's just trained, and you've got her working on her own independently now.
That's exactly right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I love it, man. You've just that's like all like the basic stuff that, we coach, other people coach, where the number one objection that we always have is around first money, right? And being able to afford it. And second is time. And you're basically have taken both of those and said, I also have these issues, but I'm just going to figure it out by kind of doing it my own way. And as a result, you said you're going to be making $200,000 this year on top of your W-2 that you still have. But even though I know you said you do have some ambitions to potentially leave that here in the near future. So that's awesome, man. So I guess with, going through those different steps of like trying to figure all that out, I guess like how did you like just like figure that out? Like do you have like other places? Or are you just like full on like entrepreneuring it right now? Is that a verb that we can use? Like, or are you trying to emulate other stuff, or this is just how you normally roll with everything?
No, this is how I normally roll. I always try to find a better way. That's how I got to where I am in the corporate world. I've never been the smartest. I actually hate accounting. I've always hated accounting. I will always hate accounting. I don't do my own accounting. I just hire it out. So, I mean, being able to take your boss's stuff and, improve it, make it shorter, make it not a pain point, something I've always done. So, I mean, it's just kind of wired that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a natural hustler, dude. No, that's awesome. And the thing is that's great is, and this is why, I know long-term you're going to do extremely well, because this mentality, right, and this sort of willingness to figure stuff out is going to translate as you start to have more and more scale, and you're going to find other ways to be more efficient, which I think you've already started to do with some of the pre-foreclosure stuff that you've been targeting.
Pre-foreclosures, that's pretty much my niche now. My VA goes onto the county website daily, pulls any name that's new on there, sends over a list, put it on an envelope, and me and my 18-month-old go for a car ride every afternoon, drop them off every day, Monday to Friday.
That's awesome.
After work. So
you're hand delivering those too.
Hand delivering them. Yeah. Because,
so,
you think about
crazy.
speed to lead. Like, I'm local. So, you think about somebody that's, using a service down in Florida. Even if they live in Atlanta and wholesaling in Atlanta, they're going down to Florida to get their mail. And then it's coming back. That's like 2 days, 3 days, fastest. If I'm dropping it in same day, sometimes they're getting it next day or day after.
Oh, wow.
So like a lot of times, as far as these sellers know, I'm the only show in town. You buy homes cash, 10 days, you can close in 10 days. Absolutely, I can. So, speed the lead, man. So I think that process is starting to, really pick up.
Yeah.
Got a 3% return right now. 3%.
That's incredible.
Rate.
Wow.
3% response rate when you deliver mail. So out of 1,000, you're getting, would that be 30 calls?
Yeah, but I'm doing basically, 15 to 25 per day. Let's call it 100 a week. So I'm working on 3 to 4 calls per week right now.
That's pretty incredible.
But I've done like 6 deals the past month.
I know, but
but
your conversion is insane from that, right? Your conversion is like 10, 15, 20%. And you've had
that's really valuable too, though, because like what you're saying there is you're kind of niching down, of course, which we all hear riches are in the niches, which we all know is true. But you're kind of like niching down such that you are providing such a low cost solution to yourself and really being super, super laser focused on the seller, your clients. And you don't need large volume when you have the conversion rate you have. When you have a 3% response rate, and then out of those, you're converting however many percentage. I know it's a high percentage from what we normally see. You don't necessarily need a ton of scale because you lose a lot of that laser focus when you do go mass with these mass mailings and stuff. So that's pretty incredible, actually.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you look in your prop stream and some of these homes, no signs of distress, no bankruptcy list, no pre-foreclosure list for sure, because they just showed up. These are just people that, fell in hard times and now their home is in disrepair. They can't repair their homes. They've got good equity. So, they're the owner. They're living in their home. So, you're not going to find any landlord lists. No signs of distress. So nobody else is calling them. Nobody else is calling them. So, the small group of wholesalers that actually take the time to go to the county website, pull the records, read through them, and read the newspaper, because there's one county that I live in. It's by newspaper. You got to go pick up the newspaper to get the full list. You got to pick up a physical newspaper.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And read it.
That is incredible.
So, I mean, like, yeah, this county's been great to me. So,
Yeah. I mean, and you say the small group of wholesalers, it's really small. You know how many there is where you are? One. It's you. So,
maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Coincidentally, I have found a couple that also do junk hauling.
No way.
Yeah, one thing I do on my calls, I'm like, yeah, if you're gonna move out, yeah, let me do your junk hauling for you. I'll help you move. I've been talking to somebody else, and he's gonna do the same thing for me. So I mean, that lets me know that I'm not the only show in town, like I think I am. So
yeah, and there's always people that are doing stuff that's like similar but different. But no, man, that's super cool. And so then, I mean, how many, you said you've done 6 deals in the last couple of months. You've had some huge deals too. Were you one of the ones that had one of the pool houses here recently?
Yeah, I've got one right now. I'm thinking I'm going to get that dispoed tomorrow.
Nice.
Thinking about flipping it, thinking about dispoing it. Had the roofing guy go today, and that roof needs to be replaced. $30,000. It's a huge house. It's kind of like what do you call it? McMansion.
McMansion,
yeah, McMansion.
It's a McMansion for sure. For the area.
That's great.
And yeah.
What do the numbers kind of look like on that thing?
I'm in
like
for
overall?
$460,000. It's worth $650,000.
Nice.
Wow. So there's still enough margin there, but I think like a couple weeks ago, y'all mentioned, those higher end homes, man, you got to be on your P's and Q's. People won't buy the house because they don't like the way the carpet leads into the bedroom or whatever, So not sure I want to take that level on just yet. So
yes, especially like in a slower market now, where buyers have a lot of choice. They don't have to run in and make an offer within 30 minutes of viewing a home, right? They have time to go look at a dozen houses and really pick and choose. So yeah, it's definitely good to probably wholesale if you're not in that high end market space already. Like if that's not your specialty.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I mean, if I get 5, 10 tomorrow, all day long, wholesale it.
Yeah, you probably even get a little bit more than that depending on the condition. I mean, if it's worth that, you could probably sell it for, would you say, at 410? You probably get like 450 for it, depending on the right buyer. But I mean, if it's just the roof and there isn't a whole lot else, like definitely don't cut yourself short on it.
Oh yeah. Cleaning the carpet, patching up some holes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so awesome.
Yeah, you'd be good.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man. So, you're going through these deals. I know you've been picking up some rentals as well. This is the other thing that you've been doing that's super niche is you're
virtually.
Yeah, you've been doing these on top of everything else. And in case you guys haven't heard, pick this up yet, McKinney has a full-time job. You've probably heard his baby a little bit in the background. He's doing all of these hustle scenarios to get wholesale and transactional deals. You're also buying long-term stuff virtually. In the one market that I don't think I've heard anyone talk about buying rentals ever.
Flint, Michigan. I don't know is it the Netflix special everybody saw?
I think it's the fact that they didn't have drinkable water for like 6 years.
That might be it.
That might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan, man. I'm cash flowing like $642 a month on a home I spent $42,000 turnkey on. I've done nothing to that home.
Yeah.
I take that back. I bought a comforter and some bed sheets, but that's it.
Yeah.
And, midterm rentals. So there's a website, furnishfinders.com. It's like Airbnb, but for traveling professionals, specifically traveling nurses. There's only 19 other homes in Flint, Michigan, that do what I'm doing. So I'm renting it out to travel nurses. No matter where you are in the United States, there are travel nurses that need a place to stay, a furnished place to stay. And, there's like one good neighborhood in Flint, I'd say. One good one, Mott Park. I'm going to tell you exactly where it is, Mott Park. It's like probably 80, 90 homes in there. And that's a safe spot. I'd live there if I had to live in Flint. And, I rent it out for $1,500 a month. Mm-hmm. That's it.
There you go.
And wow. I get calls.
You paid $42,000.
Yeah. And you got a loan on it as well. So your actual cash into it is super low. So your cash on cash is insane.
Yeah, I think I put down, $4,000.
Nice.
I made that back in basically 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, your cash on cash is crushing right now.
Yeah.
So and you did this as a midterm, so you furnished it, you did all that. You've never been to Flint, Michigan, I don't think anyway. So
I've never been to Flint. It was already furnished, even
Okay.
because I bought it from
Wow.
another landlord that was wanting to buy a lake house in Michigan.
Cool.
So she was wanting to sell it and quickly. So
Yeah.
picked that up. Yeah, it's cash flowing very well. Flint,
That's
Michigan, midterm rentals to traveling nurses. I don't care about the competition because I know you won't go invest there. So
Yeah.
everybody listening,
Right.
Flint, Michigan, is where it's at.
You're gonna own the whole neighborhood by the end of the show.
I know, right? Yeah.
Just buying shit.
And I think that's such a valuable point, though, because it's somewhere that, once again, people have looked one way, you've kind of gone the other. You're managing this one yourself as well, on top of everything else that you do, right? I don't think, unless you have a management company or.
Got a pretty awesome management company.
Nice.
Up there. They're
Cool.
handling it, but I'm responsible for finding the tenants.
Yeah.
I mean, but I get texts and calls like daily.
Really?
Even though I've got it pulled
So it's
down
pretty
right
in demand.
now. Yeah, I've got it pulled down right now, and still getting calls and texts from people that are following up.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's a good niche. Another niche that you found.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just the king of them, man. No, that's awesome. So, well, this is awesome. So in case you guys can't tell, every excuse you have, McKinney has basically just told you to shove it at this point.
He really has overcome it. If you think about it, like we've heard like excuses from people on everything that he's done. Like mail's too expensive, or gosh, VAs are too much of a pain in the ass to work with, or I can't afford a VA, or I don't like Filipinos. Like there's so many different like
I don't like Filipinos.
Well, like I shouldn't say that. Like
I don't think I've ever
that
heard
came out
that.
wrong. No, saying like I don't like virtual assistants, not Filipinos exactly. You know what I mean? Like like the language barrier, or like there's just so many issues with that, which Mike and I know, we all know that's not true, but there's just all these excuses that people build up, right? And you've definitely crossed those off the list for any of those naysayers out there. I do have one more question for you though.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? And I have my answer, and I'll share my answer with you after you answer this. But like, what is one thing that you think has contributed most to your success? Like, what's like one thing since you joined the group or since you started investing in real estate that's actually consistently been like that you did that maybe other people didn't do, or that you did just copying other people that contributed to your success?
Oh man, I knew I was going to be asked this, and I couldn't decide on one, but I got to decide on one. Consistency, but not necessarily consistency in doing the same thing each month. The consistency in contacting that individual multiple times. You got to get them 3 pieces of direct mail, if that's what you're going to do, before you're going to start getting phone calls. When I started, I would do bankruptcy list 1 month, pre-foreclosure list the next month, high equity out-of-state landlord the next. And I was calling that consistency. That's not consistency. Consistency is getting a communication, whether that's SMS, direct mail, whatever else, getting them a communication once a month for 3 months, and then seeing where the chips fall.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is
I like
key.
that.
That is the key.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my answer of why I think that you've been successful, and this isn't the only reason. I actually think the reason you gave is much more valid. But one thing I can say from the beginning, because you are one of our OGs, that when we started the group, you've pretty much been on every call, like consistently showing up in the evening, like ready to go with questions. You're participating. You're not only doing that with Mike and I, but like with other people in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the network effect right there. And I think showing up consistently and being open to listening to other people's ideas in the groups, to partner with other people in the group, like that right there, just that personality trait, that openness and showing up and participating is like that. If I could tell one thing, that would be it right there.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful in real estate.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, it's a great group. It's a great group. Like, we collaborate. I feel like I know the other OGs as well. And then the new people, man, they've been really good, really strong. I'd say the ones that are the most successful are doing what you said. They're asking questions. They're coming to all of them. Because, I mean, I use the group now. I'm still learning stuff. I am still learning stuff every week, But the ones asking the most questions, watching the videos and putting pen to paper and then going out and actually doing it. Those are the ones, like Otto. I mean, he does direct mail and he makes $50,000 in, 2 months, whatever it is.
Yeah. Right.
And then he looks at it as marketing dollars. That guy's going to level up really soon. I know he is.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. I think that's a valid comment. And
Agreed.
you can probably see that across most programs, things that people join. If you look at like the community as a whole, the people that participate, show up every day, follow the process, and just like fully immerse themselves in it, I don't know. I think we have a 100% success rate with those people. And I think a lot of other groups can probably say the same. It's the people that join things like that and kind of go 1 foot in, 1 foot out, use excuses about it being too expensive, too busy, don't have time, just, as a guise for them not wanting to put in the work. Those are the people that aren't successful, and it's like that with everything in life. So
for sure.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate everything that you shared, McKinney. So one more thing before we dive into our last minute questions. What's next? What's kind of on your horizon as you are, continuing with all these different endeavors that you've worked on? You're continuing to hack the lead generation machine. What does the next 6 months to a year look like for you?
So I'm going to add another VA and a lead manager. I've already in talks with getting some heads to go start walking properties, so I can, not because right now I'm trying to have, because I've got the W-2 job, man. So I'm trying to have to hold off for Saturdays and Sundays. Mm-hmm. So getting somebody to do that for me. So, building out my staff. But 6 months from now, I want to be doing at least 5 deals a month. I mean, I think right now I can count on at least two per month, which is still pretty good, Mm-hmm. That's where I want to be in 6 months. In a year, I want to be, I want to have 10 properties, 10 properties, long-term rentals, and I want to be doing 5 properties a month.
There you go.
Wholesaling and or flipping. Because flipping is kind of where my head's at, where my desires are. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to have at least 2 flips going at all time. Right now I've got 2, about to be 3. I'd like to have 2 or 3 flips going at all times. So, whatever I need to do to get that going, I'm going to do it. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Those are great goals.
Those are great goals. They're defined. You got a time constraint, and I have no doubt we'll be able to help you get there as well. I mean, I say that selfishly, I guess. Like, we'll be able to help you. You'll be able to get there, and I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited to watch it come together.
Excited to observe you get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So awesome. All right, McKinney, we're gonna dive into our end of show questions here. First off, and man, you're going to have to pick one. So here's another thing about McKinney, guys, with the way that he's doing this business. I don't know what it is, but you have some of the craziest stories.
Wild shit.
Like not only in just in our group, but just from other wholesalers and investors that we deal with. Like, you always have some insane thing that you're coming.
The one you posted
with.
Today is crazy.
Yeah,
but you don't have to talk about.
Yeah, I don't have to talk.
That one's wild.
That's super dark.
Yeah, that one was a little too wild. I don't know if I probably should have shared that, but yeah, that one's wild. So is it going to be what's my wildest story?
Yeah, what's your wildest story is our first question that you have. So you can go ahead and just pick one out of your giant hat of
out of your quiver of crazy properties.
Wildest story is probably my first deals I got under contract. This is in the south side of Chicago. The south side of Chicago where you don't want to wear blue, you don't want to wear red, because it's the south side of Chicago. Everything you just thought about when I said south side of Chicago, that south side of Chicago.
Okay.
So I've got 5 people walking a group of 5 properties. They get to the third one, and there's a shooting, right? Like, people are getting shot at, right? I mean, this is 9 a.m. in the morning. So they leave, they're freaked out. And my seller is like, well, what happened? I'm like, well, man, neighborhood, it's a little rough, whatever. I don't know if they're going to buy that one. He wants to sell all of them. So that's how I lose my first deal, right? So, I mean, I got my earnest money.
To a gang shooting?
Gang shooting, yeah.
Gang shooting. I don't know. It's breakfast time, whatever. So, yeah, that's how I lose my first one.
Yeah.
And that was kind of rough because, I remember the losses more than the wins, because I looked up those homes. I was under contract for, I think, $65,000. They just sold for $120, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
$120 each. They look really nice too. Really nice. But yeah, more power to the flipper or the wholesaler that got them.
Figured it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they figured it out. Yeah. They were willing to take their bulletproof vest with them.
Yeah, right.
So.
Well, at least you're able to do it all virtual, because I know you're not local there. So, you got to hear about it later.
Yeah, that's right.
So, all right, cool. All right, second question. What is the number one tip you would give to either a new investor looking to get started or to a small-time investor looking to take the business to the next level? I know you said consistency was huge before. What's one more tip you'd have for them?
One more tip I would have is you got to have a plan that you're willing to put pen to paper to and execute. I mean, you can't be relying on your personality to be able to smooth talk someone. If you're not solving a problem, you're probably wasting your time, because you're going to get a lot of people that are trying to kick the tires. Yeah, I'd like to sell. Sure. Yeah. What is your offer? No, I want my Zillow value. You're never going to be able to talk those people down. The ones that know they've got, a water leak that you haven't found out about, they know about. And those are the ones that are going to sell their home to you. Right. And I mean, if you've got to find them a new place to live that, meets their rental requirements, you got to do that too. Because right now that's what I'm running into. Well, where am I going to go? Well, you find them a place to go, get them a fair price, and you've built up that rapport with them. They're going to sell to you, and then you're going to solve their problem. So always focus on solving the problem is where I would go with that. So.
Absolutely. That's huge.
Great advice.
And I think that's a big place where a lot of new investors tend to mess up, is they focus on the asset. And especially when you're coming to off-market real estate, the asset's rarely the key point of decision, right? There's always something that they're dealing with.
Yeah, you got to talk to them as a person, not a transaction. Like, hey, how you doing? Man, divorce? Man, that's tough. Tell me a little bit about that. Get them to talk. I mean, if they're telling you about their life story for 30 minutes, you've done nothing but listen to them. Provide, maybe some, loosely speaking, therapy services to them. You do that, you've built up that rapport. They trust you. They trust you to come through for them. So, people business, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
All right. Last question we got for you, McKinney. And I know you're not really like a public figure, so you might not have an answer for this one. At least I don't think you have a desire to be.
Reddit.
But where can people find you, follow you, or reach out to you if you'd like them to do so? If you don't want them to, you can just say like, sorry guys, I'm a mysterious person. You don't get to talk to me.
Man. So, I mean, I have an Instagram. I just added y'all to, I think a couple of weeks ago. I don't know my Instagram link. I just logged in, thankfully. Don't know my Facebook link. Don't have YouTube. Don't have TikTok. Pretty boring guy, all about
just a low-key millionaire next door.
Yeah, right.
Low key, soon to be millionaire, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not the one that's going to, be driving, the fancy car or anything like that. My car is, it's got $150,000 miles, massive oil leak. My wife busses at me about, because when we go places, she doesn't want me to drive because there's a massive oil leak. It's only $1,200 to fix. But, I don't want to fix it because, it's a car. It gets me from A to B. So
I love
I'm
it.
the most low-key person you're ever going to meet, I bet.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So if you guys, if you want to connect with McKinney and brainstorm your crazy ideas with him, I guess you better join the Instant Investor program then. So
boom,
that'd be the easiest way to do it.
It'd be worth it. Trust me.
Yeah. You can connect with him and all of the other people that are crushing it right now, because we are just taking off, and it's been super fun to see everyone really get their stuff together.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, McKinney. We really, really appreciate your time, man. And congrats on all the success you've had so far. And I'm super excited to see how things continue to grow over the next little bit, because you have a lot of good things coming your way. I can tell.
Yep. Very well deserved too.
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. And,
absolutely.
It's been great.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this show with McKinney Holland. You should absolutely consider joining the Instant Investor program so you can come and learn from the stuff that he's doing. And if he did not severely challenge your beliefs over all the excuses about why you haven't gotten started yet, I don't know what to tell you. You're making bigger excuses that don't make any sense. He's not any different from you guys. He has the same financial constraints. He has the same family constraints. He has the same time constraints that so many people that are waiting to take action have. And he has said, well, I'm going to do this my own way. I'm going to find success. And here he is right now. He is crushing it. So hopefully you guys got a lot of value from that. Well, guys, please share this episode with anyone who might find it interesting. And if you have any friends who are making those excuses about why they haven't gotten started, this is definitely one you should share with them. Besides that, if you are interested in our Instant Investor program, you can hit me up on Instagram at Mike_invests, or you can also go to collectingkeyspodcast.com, and up there in the Become an Instant Investor button in the top right, you can get some more information there. Besides that, we appreciate you all, and we'll talk to you all next week.